Good morning. At the outset, I say very happy New Year 2021 to my old friends and students of Global College of Law. Today we will take forward this our lecture on Indian Penal Code 1860. Although it has been taught a number of times, and 2-3 times during this session started from 15th of August 2020 for LLB first year and BLLB. But we find it necessary that it should be exhaustively taught because IPC is one very important law subject of substantive law. Comprehensive code intended to cover all substantive aspects of criminal law. IPC was drafted in 1860 on the recommendation of the first Law Commission of India in 1834 under the chairmanship of Lord Macaulay. Lord Macaulay had written and drafted this Indian Penal Code. And the same year it has come in effect in 1862 itself. And this code has been amended several times and is now supplemented by other criminal provisions as well. See, here we shall take up introductory part of IPC, in which evolution of law of crime, the years. Number 2, the Indian Penal Code 1860, a general introduction and background. Number 3, crime and its elements. I am sure that our students who have studied this and who didn't get opportunity to study this will enjoy our teaching. Because we try to cover all those points which are very pertinent and different in other aspects, and this will be possible only when you take interest in studying these things. See, every teacher teaches every subject like law with his own vision, with his own mind. But here I'll cover up evolution of law over the years. You know, everything evolves. And here we will talk about the law of crime, that is IPC, how it has evolved. Law is an established set of guidelines implemented by government in order for the individual to ensure public order and peace and secure the equity and respectability amongst the citizens. Law as a set of guidelines can be categorized into substantive and procedural law. Law is of 2 types. One is substantive, one is procedural law. And IPC is substantive law. Depending on its regions and tendency. Substantive law provides for the rights, liabilities and commitments and obligations of a person, and the procedural law lays down the procedure to be adhered to execute the provisions enumerated in substantive law. Here our point of discussion will be substantive law. The existence of judicial organization can't be traced to the Vedic period, and prominently in India, the elder acted as judges and punishments were imposed in accordance with the nature of the offence committed in compliance to the local customs and usages. This is talked about the background in which means earlier than the IPC, what was the system of awarding punishment and how it was not good and why this code has come in practice. Moreover, the administration of justice has always remained centralized in India and independent from the executive. You know, the justice system in our country, India, has been always centralized and independent of the executive. This has always been independent. See, in Muslim law, when we see Quran, Hadith, Ijma, were the major source of the Islamic law that the Sultanate implemented on the people of governance. However, the Muslim administration of justice and adjudication in medieval period of India was encountered a lot of defects due to the absence of separation between the judiciary and executive. What has happened? Whereas in Muslim law, the judiciary couldn't be independent of executive. As such, the temperament of judiciary was not framed. With the arrival of the Britishers, the arrangement of law again changed as they introduced common and criminal courts. What happened when British government came? We can talk, see, 1858 onwards. 1758 onwards. Then what happened? They tried to create certain things. The contemporary criminal law framework of India resembles the British framework to a large extent, and nevertheless amendments have been made with the changing socio-economic times. See, in ancient period, the law was from the dharma, vyavahar, evidence, history, charitra, edicts of Kinga. See, these were the regions where the law had come. It was the Hindu criminal law which governed India before the conquest by Muslims in the ancient India, so a well organized and systematic form of criminal law. See, punishment to criminals, according to them, there are 4 methods of punishing a person. In ancient system, gentle reprimand, severe reproof, corporeal punishment and fine. And also the punishment mentioned may be awarded separately or combinedly depending upon the nature of the offence. The writers are also mentioned the purpose which was made by awarding such punishments, which have been emulated here under what we talk. For deterrence, prevention, reformation, to justice. See, there are why punishment is awarded. One is to deterrent. There should be deterrence, prevention, reform, justice, people who suffered. The criminal law and civil law system of India date back to 3000 years BC. When the Indian subcontinent was ruled by various kings, the fact that same system of law was prevalent for 4000 years to remarkable of initial. Commonly used term for the law was either Nithi or Dharma, which were propounded by the great writer Manu. See, Manu, which is rejected after the arrival of the Constitution of India. You see, the Article 13 of the Constitution of India says that all the laws earlier than the arrival of the Constitution of India will not exist or will not be in usage if any of the law comes in the way of the Constitution of India and the fundamental rights. So, whatever the rules or laws or the punishment and procedures were there earlier than the Constitution of India were said goodbye. Because that type of the punishment system did not have judiciary temperament. When we talk of judiciary temperament means what? There should be no discrimination, no two set of laws. But it should be independent and proportionate to the punishment with a human touch. Even today, our judicial system, as recently I have seen one interview of Advocate Prashant Bhushan, in which he speaks that the higher judiciary, especially the Supreme Court of India judicial system, does not possess judicial temperament. And the judges who are recruited, who are selected through collegium, they lack judicial temperament, and consequently the judgments or the opinions or the anything given by such judges does not fall in line with the Constitution of India, the rule of law. He has very elaborately said that in case the people who are coming in the judiciary of Supreme Court and High Courts, the selection procedure, if it is fair, it is independent. As he says, that collegium system needs great improvement. And if they have judicial temperament, they have rule of law in mind of the Constitution of India, there is no need of reservation in higher judiciary. Means reservation when we talk for the backward communities of the country, for which special provisions have been made in the Constitution of India. He is true to that extent. But at the same time, we see practically the judicial temperament is absolutely lacking. Therefore, to watch the interest of the backward communities, for which arrangements have been made in the Constitution of India, reservation in higher judiciary is also required. Because people with the teaching and the mind of particular set can look after the parents and also the plight of people who are suffering down there. In background of the IPC, ancient system is discussed and the medieval system also, Mughal period, is discussed. See, salient feature of the Muslim criminal law were also discussed, and I will also try to highlight. Crime against God. This class of crime included consuming intoxicants, adultery and autopsy. Crime against sovereign. Crime against private individual like robbery, which murder, theft, highway robbery, etc. The punishment for the above mentioned crimes were accordingly categorized as had. The word means boundary or limits. In criminal law, the term had means specific punishment for a specific offence. The objective was to define, prescribe and fix the nature, quality and quantity of punishment for some particular offences which the society considered anti-religious and anti-social. Second type of the punishment was tazir. These were the discretionary punishments. Such punishments were awarded only on the exercise of the discretion of the judges, owing to the absence of the law for the particular offence. Primarily, these punishments included corporal punishment, imprisonment, boxing in the ear. See how serious. They didn't have judicial temperament. They had, something like criminal approach. Main purpose behind tazir was to meet the end of public and private justice. Muslim law has been also defective in almost all the areas. Criminal law was in 1872 modified. In 1790 there are phases, 1790 to 93, 1797, 1799 to 1802, 1807 to 32. Various amendments have taken place. 1832, a conviction for the offence of adultery could be established by relying on credible testimonials, circumstantial evidence and confessions. The offence made out was to be awarded a punishment of 39 steps and imprisonment with large hard labour for a period of 17 years. These all type of the punishments earlier than the arrival of the IPC were lacking judicial temperament. Some were affected with religion, with certain isms, with hierarchy like king. Punishments were different from person to person. And it was very horrible state. Consequently, what happened? The codification of laws was necessarily required as was in British prevailing that time. An All India legislature was set up, which through reforms and modifications finally resulted into enactment of Indian Penal Code 1860. Even during the period of 1833 to 1860, reforms were enacted to the criminal law, which included the punishment to the thugs with life imprisonment and hard labor. Slavery was abolished and dacoits were punishable with transportation for life or any other punishment for a shorter period or hard period. It is worthwhile to note that even the punishment awarded to the British administration were harsh in the initial years in order to suppress crime. With the passage of time, the rigor of punishment was mitigated and made liberal on account of stability in society and as criminal incidents reduced. See, instability in society is also required. Finally, in the year of 1933, the Indian Law Commission was formed by the government of British to analyze the rules, powers, jurisdiction of the existing courts and thereby prepare a report and present suggestions for the reform. During the period of 1834 to 79, the Commission extensively worked on the Anglo-Indian codes and formulated the remarkable piece of statute, the Indian Penal Code 1860. The first Law Commission of India, which came in position in 1833, 1834 report was given, and on the recommendation of the same, the chairperson of the first Law Commission, Lord Macaulay, had drafted Indian Penal Code 1860, and which is still continuing with certain reforms from time to time. The first reform of same was submitted by Lord Macaulay in the year 1837, was eventually passed in 1860. Another great contribution was the formulation and codification of the law of criminal procedure in 1861. The court ensured the legal supremacy of European-born British subject by retaining for them special privileges like right to jury trials, with the majority of the jury representing the European jurors, limited punishment proceedings only by British judges and magistrates. All of these was done to maintain and display the European superiority and prestige. Thomas, a legislative council member, remarked, legislative council member that time Thomas had given a remark, whether the planter gets justice or not at the hand of the native magistrate is rather a secondary consideration. The mere fact of his having on some trifling charge had to appear before and be tried by a native magistrate for the same caste and family. The codification of the criminal motion created a structure in the Indian legal system, and this structure continued to dominate through the years of the British rule in India. Say thus, this Indian Penal Code had come in position. Indian Penal Code, when we talk, preamble of the resolution, letter to Bengal government was written, different approaches towards study of jurisprudence, opens in a new brochure, different between illegal and irregular procedure was discussed, and related cases, the summary of Bachan Singh versus State of Punjab 1960 is very prominent, which to be borne in mind and to be seen properly. And this way I want to see this the background of the Indian Penal Code. It is substantive law. In India it is known as Indian Penal Code 1860. In Pakistan it is called Ranveer Code, Ranveer procedure, criminal procedure. Like in Malaysia and other countries also the same code is there. Name is different. And this way, while attempting to clear this, I request everybody to be with us in a proper way, and with the background of this thing, I thank everybody who has given a hearing to my lecture, and I'll continue until it is completed in full. I have prepared mind that in 20 lectures we will cover up IPC Indian Penal Code 1860 with all case laws, important things, what type of the punishments are there which are defined from section 52 onwards up to 75, and again from 76 onwards. Different areas are there which we will discuss, also definitions in the earlier sections, general exceptions. Different parts are there which we will cover, and I am sure that our students, our viewers will enjoy it. So I say bye for today, and thank you very much for giving a patience here.